Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's week 18, and Around the Felt is here, bringing you an action-packed episode. We're going to be taking a deep dive into all the matchups, some more in depth than others, with some games having a lot more meaning and some having zero meaning at this point. But we're going to get to at least some incentive-type props we may like, and still give you some insight on those matchups that maybe really don't have an impact on the NFL season. Colin, Happy New Year. First off, you ready to take on 2026?
Happy New Year, brother. Looking forward to 2026. And hey, we're feeling good because where's my championship belt, brother? Where's my belt? Yeah, I had Bijan. So Bijan on Monday night, man. I might have to buy a rookie card because that was pretty fun. And hey, you won in the other dynasty league, so we actually swapped trophy. We get to do a little trophy for belt swap.
We do, yeah. We do have a nice trophy for belt swap. I'm super thrilled about that swap. That's a fun swap, of course.
Better swap for me. A little bit more hardware, a little bigger buy-in.
Yeah. But regardless, happy to do this swap with you. But yeah, I mean, you ready? Let's get into it.
Yeah. Did you win any other championships besides that one, or was that
No, just the one. I got second place in two other leagues, and I mean, I placed top 3 in all 5 of my money leagues, which is good. So 3 second places, 1 first, and 1 third. So made money on every league at least.
There you go. I mean, I won my other league as well. And I tell you what, if there's any game for Puka to have a dud, and I'm saying dud as if he didn't score 15 points, which is solid for most wide receivers. Puka, dud, I was going against him in both. So if any week, Puka Nacua, you're still in my good graces. But hey, let's get into the news, man. We have news from 2 different digs in this one. Let's start with the not as bad news. The Cowboys and Trayvon Diggs are no longer in a partnership. The Cowboys have officially released Trayvon Diggs. From what I've seen, no one claimed him on waivers, and they just have to pay his last game check, like $400K or something, but he could play in the postseason. Doesn't seem likely. And therefore, he had no more guaranteed money in his contract, so it seems like a divorce was going to happen in the offseason anyways. I don't know. Have you seen the story on this and why they ultimately made this move, Reagan?
No, I haven't. I kind of just assumed it's because he's been injury-riddled, and, I think a lot of those guarantees were taken out with all the injuries, and his play hadn't been what it was anyway. Like, he was definitely a net negative, for what you're paying him. And even then, like, even if he was on, like, a cheap deal, like, he just hasn't been good. So...
No. Yeah,
I figured they'd just wait till after the season, but I guess they might be at this point like, hey, listen, we're going to do everything possible to lose this game to the Giants or try to lose to improve their draft stock. Obviously the players are playing, but like in terms of the front office, because you've seen that line already shift from opening at I think it's 7.5 to now 3.5. So, definitely going to be a close game between the Giants and Cowboys the way it's trending.
So Jane Slater of NFL Network reported, she covers the Dallas Cowboys, that after their Thanksgiving game in Washington, Diggs has most of his family in Washington, so he asked permission to just stay after the game. And he was like, if you guys say no, I'm just going to get back to Dallas, land, and get in the first flight back to D.C. And Schottenheimer and Dallas did not allow that. They told him, you have to come back on the team plane. He just decided not to. He didn't show up and just stayed with his family for Christmas. Went to a concert Friday night. Apparently, it was his childhood best friend's concert. So that was his reasoning for staying behind. And him and Dallas, clearly they already were going to have a divorce in the offseason anyways, but that's why apparently that disagreement and him like not following directions kind of led to the divorce now with 1 game left to play. Which is weird.
I didn't see that part. That's crazy. I didn't even know that was required by the NFL. That seems like when you had to go to the high school event. It's like, yeah, you need your parents to sign a permission slip, and you don't have to go home on the bus.
Yeah,
that's funny. I didn't realize that was a thing too. When it comes to the NFL,
it's weird, man. It's weird. And in other news, now this is Stephon Diggs. I'm sure everyone's seen getting accused of strangulation, and just happened. Like a couple of hours ago, Christian Barmore, the Patriots defensive tackle, is now facing domestic assault accusations. So the Patriots win the AFC East, and then within 3 days, 2 of their key pieces are getting accused of these pretty major Axe.
I
And
agree.
it's not ideal, whether innocent until proven guilty stands, like, the NFL and the team has to take this pretty seriously. So that's certainly worth monitoring heading into the postseason for New England.
Yeah, I would imagine nothing will affect this postseason run. There, unless it's in the sense that legal, like the police and the FBI and that kind of stuff comes after them, like legally. I don't think the NFL will do anything till next season because they always wait until the legal actions are settled. So I don't see this affecting anything this year. It's just stuff to monitor for next year.
Still distractions, though. Not
Yeah,
ideal. Going for the
not
playoffs.
ideal.
Not
Not
ideal
ideal.
going for the season, man. So that's all we got from news.
All right, let's get into the questions. So the first one, Shawnee Mo, he wants us to rank, or he said he wants us to rank least to most on, like which teams we think have the best chance to the worst chance of the playoffs teams to make the Super Bowl. To do it easier, I guess let's just say, who are your top 5 teams that you think can win the Super Bowl this year?
Top 5 teams. This year just feels so wide open. I'm sure a big part of that is Kansas City being out of the picture, where you kind of have them as the major favorites in the AFC. Like in the AFC, I'm still going with Buffalo as my 1. Now, do I have them number 1 to win the Super Bowl? No. With the way the Rams have looked the past 2 weeks and Stafford turned the ball over, like they were the favorite. I don't know if you could still put them as the favorite, right? Like Seattle, do you trust that offense?
I would not.
Green Bay's been faltering. Philly's catching fire. It seems like at the
Green
right
Bay's
time.
very, very injured. I mean, Denver's 1 for me in the AFC. Like I go Denver right now, 1, Buffalo 2. Then I think I'll honestly put Houston at 3, the way that defense has played, putting up an historic season. And then after that, I don't really think any of those teams have a chance. I think maybe the Jaguars you could put at 4, but I think outside of that, like I don't believe in New England. I don't believe in the Chargers at this point and with how bad their offensive line looks. And I don't really believe in the Ravens or the Steelers. I think they're both bad teams. Like one of them will get in, but I don't think they're good enough to make a run. And then the NFC for me, like, I really believe in every team can make the Super Bowl outside of Green Bay and the winner of the Carolina-Tampa Bay. I think Green Bay just has too many injuries. Yeah, Green Bay with their injuries and stuff and the way they've looked down the stretch, I just feel like they can't put enough together to run the table. I just can't see them winning 3 road playoff games and getting in there. Carolina, Tampa Bay, those are both bad teams.
You'll like this answer from me. This Seattle San Fran game is obviously insanely massive.
Yeah.
I'm like, spoiler alert, I'm picking Seattle. But if San Fran wins, they're my number 1 pick to win the Super Bowl. Because they'll have that 1 seed. They'll have not just home field for the divisional round and the
Super Bowl
championship, and also the Super Bowl. So that's got to be amazing for them, sleeping in their own beds for a potential Super Bowl run. Like that's massive. And it also would just be like, I mean, clearly Brock Purdy is on fire right now, absolute fire. And if he can do it again against Seattle's defense and just like shove it to a division rival and send them into the wild card round, like that's such a huge momentum boost too on top of what they already built.
Well, dude, I'm kind of kicking myself. I wish I did I never bet or anything like that. But the Broncos 49ers, that was my preseason pick, and I'm kind of kicking myself for not putting anything on that because right now that doesn't look bad if they both end up being the 1 seed.
No shit, that doesn't look bad, dude. Mine, you know what looks bad? My Ravens Lions. That looks bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's definitely interesting. I'm like kicking myself for not taking that. Because the odds you would have to think the odds would have been pretty crazy on that. Well, they're pretty crazy on all of that.
I love taking those. If you get a nice little like $20, $25 bonus bet, like I like taking Super Bowl matchup futures because you probably could have gotten like a plus 8,000 kind of line on something like that, and it's fun to root for all year because you got both sides you're rooting for throughout the season. And then you'd always hedge if you get to like the
if you get it at 35-1 right now. But that's the Broncos to beat them. Oh, name the finalists. Let's see. I would get that currently at 17-1. Damn, that was probably 100-1 before the season at least.
It could have been.
Damn. That's all right though. Yeah. So that was Sean's question. So let's move on to Zach, Mr. Around the Octagon. His first thing isn't really a question, but more of a statement. He just says, "Fuck fantasy football."
So Zach was going against Reagan in that championship where
Lost.
Reagan and I are the two champs of the league, only 2 years in, and he had Puka, Kyron Williams, and Bijan Robinson in the last night. And it's crazy because you needed Bijan against me, but Bijan had 2 monster plays called back. So that's what you say, I'm sorry, Puka.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, Puka put up a dud, but if those 2 plays didn't get called back for his offensive tackle lining up too far in the backfield and then the holding, Puka would have had another 15 points. And it's like, oh, there's your Puka 30 bomb.
Well, not even that. I only beat him by 6, and then Puka, and it's a full point PPR, and Puka almost made that incredible 30-yard catch, that got called not a catch. And it wasn't a catch. I still see people saying that was a catch. It's like, dude, you clearly see him lose possession going out of bounds and then regain it. That would have been in field goal range, so they could have easily sent that game into overtime, and I'd be going in with a 2-point lead, and I could basically guarantee I would have lost that. So yeah, that was brutal, Zach, but I don't feel bad. Sucks to suck, bud. Sucks to suck, bud. All right, but his actual question is, do you see the losing? Do you see? Oh wait, if I could read. Do you see the losing team of the AFC North title game getting fired, like their head coach?
It's a great question. Big talk right now, especially in Giants territory, because Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh would both fly to the top of the Giants' wish list, I'm sure, if one of them would be let go.
Any team's wish list, any team with not just the Giants, any team that fires their head coach, you would think if one of those guys gets fired, they're going to be at the top of the wish list. I mean, these guys could get a job instantly. No, I don't think Harbaugh should be fired because the Ravens have gone on deeper runs than Pittsburgh, where it's like Pittsburgh's been very, very mediocre. At least the Ravens have been in the conversation and they've been choking, but they've been making AFC championships. So the Steelers, what is it now, 10 years since they've won a playoff game or whatever it is. So it's I think there's levels to it, especially with the Ravens. All right, they missed the playoffs for 1 year. I think it's an off year. And I another thing too with the Ravens is it's been a popular conversation, and it'll be a nice hypothetical in the offseason, but are they going to move on from Lamar?
Dude, I'm seeing all this talk about potentially Lamar, because that Ravens insider that dropped that bombshell article about Lamar and Harbaugh don't get along. Lamar is interested in Miami or Vegas, he would like to live there and all this and that. And that's what draws me back to, I think the only way they move on from John Harbaugh is if the relationship behind closed doors that we don't know about is so toxic that it's one or the other, Harbaugh or Lamar, and they don't want to work together. Obviously, Harbaugh's saying all the right things in the media, but you can't move off of John Harbaugh unless behind closed doors the relationships have deteriorated to a point where you just can't move forward and work together in a cooperative manner. But Mike Tomlin's a different story, as you said, because you just haven't had any type of postseason success in what feels like a decade. Where with Harbaugh, it's you just went to the AFC Championship game just recently, within the past couple of years, and you've made runs. So, and you can also point to for Baltimore the fact that Lamar's been battling injuries literally all season. So that could be a huge factor if they do miss the playoffs. Obviously, that's a major reason why.
Yeah. It is interesting because it's to trade away a generational talent would be nuts to me. So I think that's more of a hypothetical, but they did move on from Joe Flacco when you could say he was still in his prime and decided to do it. So we have seen the Ravens move on from quarterbacks when it's time, but it's hard to think with how talented that roster really is that they would give up on that. For the Steelers side of things, I still don't think so either. I understand it. A win makes it even less likely, but if they lose, I still think they run it back one more time with Tomlin because, like I said, I feel like if anything, Rodgers is going to come back again, and they're going to give it one more shot with the Rodgers-Tomlin duo. So it's kind of where I'm at on that.
It's valid. That's all we got for questions?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that is it. I was looking if there were any more.
All right, man. Let's rip through these games. We'll try to keep it nice and short and sweet for you guys because a lot of these don't have much of an impact, but the games on Saturday do. We got Carolina, Tampa Bay in the 4:30 slates, and Tampa Bay 2.5-point favorites at home. Basically a pick 'em on a neutral site. Total 43.5 feels decent. I believe it was 20-17 in Carolina win just 2 weeks ago. But now Tampa Bay's at home, backs against the wall. And hey, Todd Bowles literally said in the media today or on Monday, we need a better quarterback play if we're going to make the postseason. Bold move, lighting a fire under Baker's ass in the media, your own quarterback. But hey, then again, I don't even have to ask you. I know you're picking the Panthers.
Yeah, man. Panthers at -400 to win the division right now. Because of the fact that they have 2 ways of getting in, or 3 ways technically: win, tie, or Atlanta win. So the Panthers they do control their destiny, but they also now have the luxury with that doomsday scenario I was kind of explaining on the pod on Monday night, where I said it doesn't really matter if the Falcons can't beat the Rams. Well, the Falcons did beat the Rams, and that's why the Panthers odds went from plus like 130 to win the division to now -400, because even if the Bucs are to win, the Bucs still need to make sure that Tyler Shuck is able to get the win. In the way Atlanta's been playing right now, that's going to be quite the interesting game. So it doesn't have as much of a win-in, get-in feeling as it could have had, which kind of sucks, because now it's like, well, if Tampa Bay wins, they're still not guaranteed, where, I guess all the people didn't realize or were just assuming that Atlanta would lose to the Rams. I mean, I was under the impression that Atlanta would play tough. I didn't think they would dominate the Rams like they did, even though it was a 3-point game. Atlanta really punched them in the mouths there. But yeah, I'm going with the Panthers. I think Bryce is going to step up, have a massive game in this one. And the Panthers defense has been very good this season. Like, a lot of people, yourself included, we're very down on them coming into the season, and they've been one of the biggest surprises on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, really limiting a lot of good offenses. And I know Seattle, like last week, that was an ugly defensive game where Seattle's defense really showed like why they're one of the best in the league. But the Tampa Bay defense is not that. So I think the Carolina offense will bounce back, and I think their defense will step up big here, get the win on the road. But I'm excited. This is a great way to kick off the Saturday slate.
It is a great way to kick
big
off
Rico
the Saturday
game.
Slate. And I know you're going with Carolina, so I'm going to go with my boy Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay. Come on, man. I mean, look, who do I think's in a better spot right now? Like, who has stronger momentum? Carolina, despite that loss to Seattle. Like, Seattle's going for the 1 seed, that defensive juggernaut. And Carolina did just beat them by 3. However, it's in Carolina. So I think these teams are honestly so evenly matched. And I just sense that Baker Mayfield's going to rise to the occasion here. I don't appreciate what Todd Bowles did. And honestly, if I'm wrong on this pick and Todd Bowles gets fired, I'll take it. Like, that's good, because I think this Tampa Bay team is much better than how they're playing, particularly on defense. And, that falls under Todd Bowles.
It does fall under Todd Bowles. You're completely right. And I mean, it's funny for a guy that's won multiple division titles. Like, I think he's only a couple games over 500 as a coach of the Bucs. Because it just shows you that they're kind of like, obviously he hasn't been there nearly as long, but it's kind of similar to the Steelers, where it's like they keep getting in, but they're not doing anything once they get in. Like, they're barely getting over 500 and then losing. I mean, I guess the difference is they did beat Philly that 1 year, but I would think whoever wins this is a first round exit anyway in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
I guess Carolina's frisky enough that maybe they could do it, depending on the matchup, because we did see them beat the Rams at home and we did see them beat the Packers. But even I guess, did the Bucs really beat anyone? I know early on, like, they beat the Lions, or no, they didn't beat the Lions. Who did the Bucs beat early? They beat some good teams, I thought, early. But
they did. They started off like what, 5?
They started off hot. I mean, they beat the Texans, which is impressive, and the Seahawks early on. So, and the Niners. So, I mean, that shows you, too, that, like, these teams are frisky, that, they could. It's just hard to believe with how inconsistent they've been, and some of these other teams being very consistent. But, regardless, they're going to have a home playoff game. So there's something to be said about that. Are there any props you like in this one? I'd imagine if you're doing a big dogs, you'd have to have some Saturday plays in, right? I mean,
well, that's the thing, man. Is for Big Dog this week, I'm very much looking at who's got incentives to score touchdowns for big bonuses and who's playing meaningful football.
Yeah.
So this is
I would imagine you want to get this video out Friday so you can have the Saturday games and play.
Yeah, that would be a good game plan, Reagan. That would be a good game plan. Off my list, I don't see anything in terms of touchdowns. I do see Emeka Buka is 70 yards away from 1,000, but given how he's been playing, I don't know if you could do that. And then T-Mac is
like that too, yeah.
71. Yeah. So they're basically neck and neck. So I actually prefer – now, This is what kills me is like, what Bryce Young am I going to get? The Bryce Young that can dice him up for 300 yards, and everyone's like, that's why he went number one. Or am I get the Bryce Young that throws for 50 yards last week? Because if you're going to give me even an in-between Bryce Young with this Tampa Bay secondary, I prefer Tet over Ibuka to hit that 1,000 yards.
Yeah, I'm probably staying away from both. Just like, and I understand the aspect of getting over 1,000, but it's just like the game's so important. Like I wouldn't be shocked if either guy goes like 2 for 13, and it's just like, yeah, like they're just, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly.
I like anyone I like to score. I'm big on Rico. I don't think there's like Rico and Mike Evans if I'm taking one on each side, because I want nothing to do with that Tampa Bay backfield when it comes to scoring. And some of the other wide receivers on Tampa Bay scare me, but at least Mike Evans is going to get a couple goal line looks, and Rico is just the better back of the two, especially last week with Chuba having a really bad fumble. I think that definitely affects the timeshare a little bit.
Yeah, it should be Rico.
So.
All right, you go with this one? Move on?
Yeah.
All right, and the night game, dude.
Yeah.
What a banger. I'm so happy they put this on Saturday night. You got Seattle as 1.5-point favorites, sitting at 13-3, traveling to San Fran to face the 12-4 Niners, who are 12-4. Winner gets the number 1 seed. Loser locked into the 5, Reagan, or could, like, if the Niners lose, could they fall down to the 6?
I think Seattle is locked into the 1 or the 5. No, Seattle's definitely locked into the 1 or 5. The Niners, I think. Oh, let's see. I think because they split. I'm not sure. No, Philly and Chicago are locked into the 2-3. Carolina, Tampa's locked into the 4. Seattle could go to 5 at worst. Green Bay's locked into the 7. I forget. I don't know how it shakes up with the San Fran, LA, because they split and they would both be 4-2 in the division, assuming LA won. And then I think it goes to conference record next, right? I think that's a secondary tiebreakers conference record.
Yes.
The Rams are locked into 6, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so it's 1 or 5 for both these teams.
I
Similar last year
believe.
where it was Detroit and Minnesota, 1 or 5. And we saw how that turned out for Minnesota after they lost this game. So maybe this is way more important than how we're even thinking about it, right? So
yeah,
your over-under here is 47.5. It's pretty juicy. I mentioned earlier I'm going with Seattle. Reagan, looks like you're going with San Fran? I mean, you have
okay.
them.
I'm how the Niners get the 6 seed. This is a worst case scenario, but San Francisco 49ers lose to Seahawks, Rams beat or tie Cardinals. No, but that wouldn't make sense because they have. I think this article came out before. I think this article maybe came out before. No, it came out 16 hours ago. I don't know how that would make any sense. I don't know. I don't think there's a way they can get 6. 49ers win 1 seed. Seahawks win. Rams win. Oh no, there is. Okay. Apparently, if the Seahawks win, and the Rams win, the Niners would drop to 6. So there's still the chance that the Niners are the 6 and the Rams are 5.
Okay.
So that's fun for Carolina or Tampa Bay, knowing you're playing one of those 3 juggernauts in the NFC West. But I guess technically all 3 of those teams lost to one of those 2 teams. But anyway, yes, I am going with San Francisco. I am just so inspired with the type of offensive football they're playing right now. Defensively, yeah, it's not great. I mean, Salah's definitely playing himself into a head coaching job for what he's been able to do with the fact that they lost 2 all-pro caliber players on that defense so early, and they're still winning games and hanging around. So he's going to get a head coaching job. It ultimately came down to it's best on best. This is basically, you could say, the best offensive unit currently and the best defensive unit. I mean, obviously, you could make debates that there's better offense and defensive units like Houston, and offensively, I don't really know if you can say there's a better offensive unit right now the way the Niners have been playing. I mean, maybe. No, I don't. I really don't think you can. So this is going to be like best on best, and I like the Niners at home to come out on the best side of it. I think their defense can do enough to stop that Seattle offense that we've seen struggle and disappear at times, where, yeah, it's just going to be close. But I'm liking what I'm seeing from McCaffrey and Purdy. I just find it hard to believe that Seattle's going to be able to stop them here. I think, let I mean, the first time around, it was so early. It was week 1, so it's hard to even like take a lot away from that.
Completely different.
These teams are so different. And even then it was 17-13, but like the Niners defense was so different. So I actually like the over in this one. I think this one will be way more high scoring around this one. I think that the game script's going to turn into the Niners way, and even the over under reflected a 47.5 kind of shows you that Vegas thinks that. So I think it'll be high scoring, but I ultimately going to take the Niners in this shootout.
I'm going to take Seattle, man. And, I know I just said earlier that I think if San Fran does win this game, they're my number 1 to win the Super Bowl. But there's just something about the Seattle defense, and they've just been absolutely lights out the past 2 months. And it's just hard for me to believe that Purdy's going to be Superman another week this week. I don't know. Is Trent Williams going to play? Because we don't know yet. And it's Wednesday, but he left with the hamstring. So that's a huge factor for me. Because now they didn't need him against Chicago, but this Seattle defense is a different animal. I am somewhat worrisome of Sam Darnold because he did shit the bed in this same exact scenario a year ago, and then they fell apart. Yeah. So there is some concern for me from Sam Darnold, but ultimately I think JSN can do enough offensively. The running backs hopefully can keep it rolling because San Fran has struggled to stop the run, and we just saw Swift have a pretty decent game. Honestly, surprised Chicago didn't do better on the ground, but they were just playing from behind, so Caleb was chucking the ball. But for me, I think Seattle can do enough offensively. Their defense will hold it down. It should be a really tight game, but I'm going to give the edge to Seattle here to get the win on the road.
Fair. 2 great games that we get on Saturday. I'm excited.
It's awesome, dude. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, and I would think in that one, there's a lot of options in play for big dogs.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You kidding me? Are you kidding me? I might just do a Saturday only big dogs, a guy from each team, just for fun.
You could.
We'll see. Because like these are actually teams that
you definitely could give two parlays if you want.
Yeah, why not? Who's gonna tell me no? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't. Somebody, but not me. I mean, I'm not gonna complain. I'm not gonna twist your arm there. McCaffrey's -170, but even if you go like juicier on the other options, you could throw him in there.
Yeah, McCaffrey feels safe. I'm curious if Kittle will play. It just feels like a Kittle moment kind of game. You know what I mean? If he's in there, I like George Kittle for sure.
Yeah. All right. Ready to move on?
Let's move on to Sunday, man. We got the Texans and the Colts. And Houston's a 10.5-point favorite here. Total is only 38.5. Of course, the Colts are rolling with Riley Leonard in this one. That's why you get a fat spread. Houston still gunning for wild card positioning, I believe. So somewhat matters to them. They should be playing their starters. I'm sure you're going to pick them to win.
No, they're not. No, they're also not just the wild card. They can still win the division.
Oh, that's right. If the Jags lose to Tennessee.
Yeah, because they would be 5-1 in the division, and Jacksonville would be 4-2. So that's why, Houston and Jacksonville both have not locked up their divisions, and it's a big difference.
Playing at 1. For that reason.
Getting a home playoff game is a massive difference.
Okay,
and
so
potential second.
All in against Riley Leonard here. I gotta think you're picking him to win the game, Reagan.
No, yeah, I'm taking it. I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about here. I mean, I just think it's a tough matchup already for most quarterbacks, but then you add in the fact that like he's a rookie, hasn't seen a lot, and he's got to go get into Houston and take on this defense that has just been historic. I don't see how this isn't a blowout, and it doesn't have to be crazy. Like I could see Houston winning this one like 21 to 3, honestly. Like I don't think
we should bet it. That's literally what came in my brain.
Yeah, like you know what I mean? Like it doesn't like because I think the Colts have a good enough defense to like hang around, but I just don't see enough production coming. And it's like you can only give Jonathan Taylor so much work, and it's like ultimately like I think Houston's just gonna know like, all right, we're gonna take JT out of this game. Like we're gonna stack the box. Riley Leonard, you beat us with your arm, and I don't think that's gonna happen.
I agree, dude. I'm taking Houston to win and cover. I mean, what more needs to be said? Riley Leonard wasn't even known at Notre Dame when he led them the national championship game last year for his arm. It was more of that leadership and his rugged running abilities that kind of got him there with the pairing of Jeremiah Love, like that 2 rushing duo kind of got him there. And I just don't see that happening against Houston. I will say the Colts offensive line can hopefully kind of neutralize that Houston pass rush a little bit. But then again, it's a very inexperienced quarterback that's probably going to hold on to the ball and take some hits. So for me, this is an easy one. I'll take Houston and win and cover.
Oh, Chubb 94 rushing yards away from 250,000 for the bonus. I don't like that.
We don't like that one, dude. I don't think
No.
that one's happening. I
No.
really don't think that one's happening.
No, I don't see any. I'm trying to look if there's any Colt ones. Also, one we missed for the Panthers, Dowdle will get 250,000 if he scores another touchdown. He's also 7 scrimmage yards away, so that doesn't matter for $1 million
Ooh, 250K from a touchdown
for a touchdown. But what's so massive about that is he'll get $3 million in incentives. His contract is 1 for 3, so he's like doubling his contract. But so for me, I think that is why I want to take Dowdle as well. Not only did I already like it, but I didn't know he needs one more touchdown for 250,000. So.
Wow, that just, I mean, Big Dog's licking his chops for that, man. It seems like Dowdle is one guy in the parlay.
Yeah, let him lick the chops. And then Pollard needs 66 rushing yards for the – oh, wait, we're not on that game yet.
To that game yet, dude.
I don't know why I keep tripping up in my mind.
Game.
I don't see any Colts ones, but it doesn't matter about the Colts. I want nothing to do with this team. It's gonna be an ugly game.
All right, let's get to the next game here, which is Tennessee-Jacksonville. The Jags are 12.5-point favorites over the Titans. Boy, oh boy, that's a big number. And look, I mean, I will say though, the way Cam Ward's been playing in this Tennessee team,
great,
battling, like 12.5 almost feels a little disrespectful. What do you think about that?
I do think it's a little disrespectful. I think the Titans will cover here. I do like the way Cam Ward's been playing. I was talking about it earlier when it was like, or on the recap pod where I'm like, yeah, of course I'm going to stroke Shuck, but the way fucking Cam Ward's been playing recently, it's like, whoa. I talked about it in his past 4 games. He has 8 touchdowns to 1 interception. He's really starting to turn it around, and you can see in the pocket, he looks better. And the team's 2-2 in their last 4, so the defense is playing better. He's playing better. The way he's playing, I think he can do enough to cover 12.5. I think Jaguars will get it done. They're the better team. They have been really hot here. But I think, they also may get to a point where it's like, hey, we have this game in control. Like, let's start to sit some guys because we can kind of coast in this fourth quarter. Like, I think as soon as they can pull guys out and bench them, they will. So if it gets to if it's 17 points going into the fourth and it's like, yeah, we can kind of just get away with taking some of these guys out. Like maybe we throw in the backup quarterback to game manage it and stuff at a certain point. Like that opens the door for a backdoor cover with 12.5 as well. Yeah,
and your total here is 47.5. So I could see a world where it's like a 27-17 or 27-20 kind of game. I mean, you like the over. I still kind of lean the under, but hey, there's also a world where Jacksonville hangs over 30 and Tennessee, I
think Tennessee could hang, over 20 for sure. The way their offense has been playing recently.
Yeah, I mean they hung 30 on Cleveland, which is
I'm saying they're
defense. So that's why I'm also with you, man. I'm going to take Tennessee to cover, but let's be honest, given the stakes of this game, Jacksonville should take care of business. They should win much better. Their defense is significantly better. They got Trevor Lawrence playing the best football of his career with an opportunity to clinch the division. I just don't see them faltering there. I see them getting the win. But you're right. They could take the foot off the gas and just run the ball with ETN at the end of the game and just milk the clock, just trying to get out of there with their guys healthy to clinch the division.
Yeah, and Tony Pollard, like I said, 66 rushing yards for 250,000. 2 touchdowns, I'll get 200,000. I don't like that. But the 66 rushing yards, his line will probably be at 60. So take the over in his rushing yards. You got to think that
the ball well.
He has been running the ball well too. So that is the nice thing.
Not a big Tony guy, but he's been running the ball well.
And Jaguars, Eric Armstead will get $1 million if he gets 1.5 sacks. I don't really think they can that's not really something you could cheese, Yeah. But definitely something of note that he might be trying a little extra hard, or they might keep him in a little extra longer at the end there to get a Cam Ward sack.
I like it. All right, let's move on. A game that does not matter. Dallas versus the Giants. Dallas 3.5.
Well, it matters for you.
It matters for me, absolutely. They better fucking lose, man. They better lose. So 3.5-point dogs are the Giants at home. You mentioned this line moved, and it's clearly because of Jerry Jones's comments. He's like, "Oh, we're gonna start Dak, but from there, we'll see what happens. We have a game, we have a plan." And it's like, what does that mean, Jerry? Are you gonna start Dak for a series so you can continue some type of streak that doesn't matter? What? Why would you start him and then sit him? Like, I don't get that. Maybe in the second
you
half.
gotta see what you got in Joe Milton, of course.
Yeah, shit. Joe Milton might be able to still dice up this defense.
I
So,
think he will. I
hey,
think Bazooka Joe could.
Giants, they're going to be playing hard. I mean, last week was your prime example. They steamrolled the Raiders. So, like, they're at least going to be putting everything out there. So, hey, if Dallas is going to bench their starters, this shit could get interesting. But what do you think here? Who are you going with?
I actually am going with the Giants, and it's for the sole reason that you saw last week. They have a lot of fight in them still. Like if they rolled over against the Raiders last week, I would have said Dallas would win this one. But Dallas's comments and the line shift definitely scares me. The fact that it was like 6 or 7 points and now it's 3.5 makes me think Dallas is going to pull some fuck shit. And at the end of the day, the Giants have no reason to do that. Like they're going to play Dart. You're not sitting them. And even if they did sit Dart, I don't think Winston coming in would be necessarily a bad thing. But yeah, I think, for the Giants, of course you want them to lose, but this is another good spot for Dart to have another good game, build off of last week, where he was running the ball effectively, passing the ball effectively. I would imagine I got to look at Wan'Dale Robinson. I know he doesn't have any incentives. It's more of just like milestones and the fact that he's in a contract type year. But
he just hit 1,000 last week.
If Wan'Dale plays, I would say he has 92 catches. You got to think they're going to be trying to manufacture him to get over 100 catches this year. So Wan'Dale 8 receptions is definitely in play for me this week as well.
I like that. He had 11 last week, I believe. So clearly the most targeted player on the team. And we know
it's like Dallas's defense is ass.
Good, and they just cut Trayvon Diggs. So
yeah,
although he Wan'Dale works out of the slot, so he wouldn't be lined up on anyways. But it's still a weaker secondary in general.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna take Dallas, dude, just because we need it for the draft pick. That's my reason.
Fake fan.
It's so hard to predict because I'm like, you don't know how much Dak's going to play. I could talk about Dak and CD and Pickens dicing up this defense like they should. Javonte Williams, is he going to play? I don't know. Malik Davis just went for over 100 yards. Like anyone could run against this Giants team. So I could talk about all of that. But if they're going to bench everybody, then like, what are we talking about here? We're just I'm rooting for the fucking draft pick, dude. So let's go Cowboys. I can't believe I just said that. Let's move on. That's enough. All right, another game that does not matter. Just if you want to flag any bets or anything, Cleveland versus Cincinnati. Bengals are 7.5-point favorites at home. The total is 44.5. Cincy rolled last week against Arizona. Cleveland got that big upset win over Pittsburgh. So interesting. This line is that wide when the Bengals don't have anything to play for, and Pittsburgh did last week. But what do you think here, man?
Yeah, I'm just going to take Cincinnati to cover and win here. I think they're going to still be playing all their starters. Plus the Browns got some injuries on that offensive line and stuff. And I don't know. I think with all the injuries like Cleveland has, I think this Bengals defense can kind of hang around and get some stops where, we just saw Joe Burrow clicking on all cylinders. And I think all those guys are going to be going. Like they're not going to be benching anybody. So I think this is just a game where the Bengals go out and dominate here to end out the season. It's pretty meaningless. I don't really see any incentives that matter. It's one I'm probably staying away from in general. But I'm going to take the Bengals to cover and win here. Not a whole lot to write home about with this matchup.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bengals to win because they are at home and Joe Burrow looks like he's in better spirits. He's playing much better the last couple weeks. But I am going to take the Browns to cover just because I do think 7.5 is a lot. I do think Myles Garrett could take over this game, like get one sack and it's kind of that monkey off his shoulder and then the floodgates open and he could have a game where he has 3 or 4 and we're like, wow, he shattered the record kind of thing. And I think that can cause this to be more of a tight game and more low scoring. And it's just one of those classic AFC North matchups. Like the Browns, doesn't matter who they're playing that division, doesn't matter what their record is. Their defense seems to always show up and they're always in it. And we'll see what Shedeur can do. If Shedeur is going to throw 2 or 3 interceptions like he has been, then maybe Cincinnati's offensive firepower just takes over and they run away with it. But if Shedeur can take care of the football, they could stay in this thing. I also don't know the status of Harold Fannin at this point in time, but he's clearly been Shedeur's favorite target. So if Fannin's out, it might not even matter what they do defensively because even against this bad Bengals defense, Cleveland might struggle to score because Sampson in that run game has been pretty non-existent. It was non-existent with Judkins too because that offensive line I think is missing 4 starters, I believe. So the offense is just a mess in general. But
yeah, he's looking like a nice dynasty stash, Fannin. Like if you drafted him late, he's looking like a locked and loaded top 5 tight end going into next year.
I don't know if you're in any leagues, man, but there's there's leagues where I have people that say, "Oh, I don't care," and they're like deep bench leagues. Like you got taxi slots, like 15-man benches. Like there's really nothing on waivers for you. And I have people that I'm in trade negotiations, and they like don't even value a second rounder that much. A third is like, "Oh, who cares? I don't want that." And then in one league, it's a 10-man league, so there's fourth rounders. And I tell people, I'm like, if you say those picks don't matter, they aren't valuable, just admit that you don't watch college football, you don't care. Just admit you don't know ball. Because I got Harold Fannin, 21 years old, tight end 5 on the season, with pick 38 in my rookie draft. 37 rookies in front of him. So please tell me how those picks don't matter. Because the year before, Bucky Irving went undrafted. Please tell me.
I mean, dude, I got Puka on waivers before he broke out and threw him on my taxi spot. So
100%.
They matter. I mean, the hit rate's not high, but if you do hit, it's nice. So they definitely matter. It's just I usually don't like to keep a ton of them because I have the odds of those hitting and being able to hold on to them is hard. If you don't have a deep bench, but if you have a deep bench league or you're like not competing now, you might as well stock up on those and just throw your lottery picks out there and hope a few of them hit.
Exactly. Just had to get that out there, man. Just had to get that out there.
Hey, thank you for sharing. That was good.
All right, Green Bay, Minnesota next up. Green Bay at 9-6-1, Minnesota at 8-8. Who would have thought Minnesota has a chance to end up the season with a winning record? Pretty crazy.
I hope
Minnesota,
they do.
7.5-point favorites here with, holy shit, a 35.5-point total.
I think this is probably because Green Bay is going to be benching everybody in this matchup, and I don't even know if Willis is going to be able to go for them either. They might be on their third string. It might be, I'm blanking on his name because the guy from the Cardinals that I said would win Rookie of the Year a couple of years ago, that's their backup. Clayton Tune, I think, might be getting the start because Malik Willis obviously left. If Malik Willis goes, I think he's in play for big dogs the way he runs the ball. But yeah, I have the Vikings winning and covering here. My big reason is just the fact that Green Bay is going to be benching anyone of relevancy. They can't gain anything from this game. All they can do is lose from this game with players potentially getting injured. So I think you're basically anyone of relevance that you think is a big impactful player is hitting the bench in this one. Rest up, get ready for next week, and figure out who you're going to play in that too, whether it's Chicago or Philadelphia. Both are going to be tough tasks. We're Minnesota, they're firing on all cylinders. I hope it's 9. If it's Brosmer, I still don't care. We've seen how this defense has played down the stretch. Like Brian Flores is putting on a showcase of why he should be a future head coach, and the Vikings are just showing why, like, with consistent and healthy quarterback play, they should have been a playoff team this year.
Yeah, Brian Flores should absolutely be considered for head coaching jobs. I think that the whole lawsuit shit just kind of causes some issues. But Diana Rossini reported that there's a couple teams that are already like interested in Brian Flores, and he will get calls. So that'll be worth monitoring in the offseason. This is a really tough one to predict right now because, like you said, you don't know if it's 9 or Brosmer right now. I'm going to take Green Bay to cover for that reason. I do think Minnesota wins because this Minnesota defense is just disgusting. But if it is Brosmer versus Clayton Tune, I mean, what a shit show. I could see a Vikings like 6-3 win, and I'll take my cover.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, but we'll see. We shall see.
All right, let's move on to a game that kind of matters a little bit more here. Unless you have any incentives that you want to flag.
Let me pull that back up. I don't think there was anything in this one that I saw of note for either the Packers or the Vikings because it's some of them. It's tough with the Vikings, like Jonathan Allen, like the sack bonus, 1.5 sacks. Like it's just I'm not doing it. And Keyshawn Nix, like an interception. Like you can't just like cheese that and like try to force it. Like it's just got to happen. Like I guess the sacks, you could leave the guy on the field and just be like, yeah, we're gonna all out blitz it, but the interceptions is nothing to do with it.
No.
So, nothing.
All right, next. A game that matters for one team, not two teams. New Orleans versus Atlanta. And the two teams it matters to are not in this game. It is Carolina, Tampa Bay that it matters to because if Atlanta wins, Carolina wins the division, regardless of what happens in their game on Saturday.
Yeah.
The Falcons are 3-point favorites in this one. We got a total of 45.5. Of course, Atlanta coming off that monster win against the Rams in which they were kind of whooping ass early, almost blew it, but then ultimately held on for the win. So what do you think? They're going to ride that momentum into this game and take care of New Orleans, or are you going to back your boy Shuck for Rookie of the Year and keep their hot streak going?
I am going to back my boy Shuck. It's hard because both teams have been so hot, but I'm going to back my boy. I'm going to back the Saints. I think Shuck's going to cook in this one, continue on his hot streak. Both teams essentially have nothing to play for, but the way the Saints have been playing, like you can't tell those guys, oh yeah, like let's tank for a better pick. They got their quarterback figured out. I don't even think Saints fans really care at this point. I think they want to see Shuck ball out again. I think their Super Bowl is having that guy win his Rookie of the Year, and for the Falcons, it's like, of course, just keep winning games. They don't have their pick. And, Raheem Morris, I think, has cooled off his seat. I think he'll buy himself another year with the way they've played down the stretch, winning some big games and turning it around. And that's a big sign, too. These guys are still fighting. And that's why it's like, if I'm a Falcons fan, I'd want to keep Morris because it's like you're winning games down the stretch. These guys aren't giving up, even though they're out of the playoffs. Same with Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings. Same with Kellen Moore and the Saints. Like, these guys are winning games down the stretch, even when they're eliminated. So that tells you they have the locker room. They have not lost, that these guys are still fighting. But I'll take the Saints in this one. Give me Tyler Shuck to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. You need a man to do a boy's job. It's true, though. 26 years old. That's a grown-ass man. He's coming in to do a man's job and get that award. He's taking it from all the little boys that couldn't get it done. All those 22, 23-year-old boys that couldn't get it done.
He would have to be the oldest Rookie of the Year award
Probably,
winner.
yeah.
He'd
Probably,
have to
yeah.
be. I don't think Brandon Weeden won when he was 28. So, yeah, that would be crazy. Look, I'm going to go with the Falcons here for a couple reasons. Number one being the duo that has been over the past month plus of Bijan and Pitts. I know Pitts was contained by LA, but Bijan went for over 200 total yards, 2 touchdowns. He's a man on a mission. He's absolutely phenomenal. I don't know how anyone's going to be able to slow him down. And I will say Kirk Cousins has been playing some good football. It almost makes you wonder if Kirk Cousins was the starter playing like this all season, do the Falcons just win this division outright? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because it would be a 3-way tie at the top, and it's like, wow, if a couple different things went differently,
It is interesting. So that's number one. Number two, holy shit, man. The Falcons got a lot of slack for trading their first-round pick in 2026. Did they totally just rebuild their defense and establish their core moving forward? In Jalen Walker, James Pierce Jr., who's on a streak of like 9 sacks in 8 games, something along the lines of that, and Xavier Watts, who has 5 interceptions and also was laying the boom the other night. So those 3 guys on defense have kind of created the new core on that side of the ball for Atlanta going into 2026. So that's something to be optimistic about. And if you're a Falcons fan, it's like, all right, we're 7-9. Say they win this game, they go 8-9. Would you trade that pick where you are in that draft for knowing what James Pierce Jr. is right now? I'd say absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd say absolutely.
He looks like a legit prospect. It looks like it worked out right. And I think at the time they were expecting that pick to be a little bit later, but it's all right. He definitely looks like he's, returning on investment for sure.
Yeah, and given the state of this draft class, not a ton of blue chip guys at the top, I mean, they probably feel pretty good about it. So I just think vibes are high in Atlanta right now. Their young core is ascending. They're playing great ball, and Raheem Morris is probably going to keep his job, as you mentioned, given this late surge, particularly the defensive side of the ball with those guys because he's a defensive coach. So, and I tell you what, the GM might have saved himself too with the way this draft class is looking on that side of the ball. So I think Atlanta just vibes are high. I think they take care of business here. I do think they're the more talented team.
We'll see. I mean, hey, that ensures my Panthers get in. It's funny. I have I feel like I'm almost guaranteed one of the futures to hit right now between my Panthers division future and Shuck Rookie of the Year.
Probably, yes.
Because that if the Saints win, then that means the Panthers may not make it, but that means Tyler Shuck probably wins Rookie of the Year because that means he probably played good enough to get the win, and that means Tet probably didn't do enough, and they lost.
You love the NFC South, brother. You love
But it would be even better if the Panthers just win and then Shuck comes in and lights up the Falcons, and I get both.
That also kind of sucks that I'm rooting for my boy Baker to get in the playoffs, and I'm projecting that they're going to win and they're going to be all hyped up, and then the Falcons are going to break their hearts the next day. Your Panthers get in.
Yeah. No, that is hilarious. That would be the most NFC South thing ever to send an 8-9 team into the playoffs. I mean, that would basically sum up this division all year.
It would be, dude. It would be. It's always fun when a team below 500 sneaks in, though.
Yeah.
All right. Don't know how to spend too much time in this game. Jets, Bills. Bills are 7-point favorites. I mean, is Josh Allen even playing? Like, I don't know.
I don't. I think the line reflects that he's not at the moment in time.
Over the Jack, like I thought they'd be more like 12, 13, 14, honestly, fully healthy, full go. So for me, this is a tough one to predict. I'm taking the Bills to win and cover because why would I pick the Jets in this spot?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of why for me, like, too, it's like it doesn't really matter to me if it's Josh Allen or not. Like, they should handle business. I mean, I guess a prop to look at is Shakir, another touchdown, gets 150,000. 8 catches, also 150,000. Dawson Knox, 100,000 for a touchdown. So, like, this is one where they might be stat padding for those two guys, Knox and Shakir, to score a touchdown, just for the fact that, like, it's the sorry old Jets who have already quit on their team.
Damn, dude, there's so many games at 4:00. Holy shit.
Nick Folk does get a $500,000 bonus if he makes 2 more kicks, though. So that's one prop. That would be the Super Bowl for the Jets. Seeing him.
Bro, did you know we have 6? Did you know we have 6 games at 1 and 7 games at 4?
Yeah, I didn't know it was actually more at 4. I know they did that. I know they normally do a lot of 4:00 games in Week 18. I didn't realize that many. Not really sure why, but anyway. Yeah, I just can't take the Jets for anything at this point. They've just clearly given up. You know, every team's just boat racing them right now. So Aaron Glenn's lost that locker room completely. And at least the Bills, it's like technically there's still seeding implications here. Like, you give yourself a chance to have a home playoff game at the 5 seed where you basically eliminate that at the 6 or 7. So it's a big difference.
Yeah. All right, move on here to the next game in the AFC East. Miami travels to New England. Miami, of course, is eliminated from the postseason. So doesn't really matter too much for them. It's Quinn Ewers, the 7-9 Dolphins, the 13-3 Patriots, who are 10.5-point favorites. The total is 45.5. Now, I know Denver also plays at 425. So if New England wins and Denver loses, they get the 1 seed. So it still matters for them to win.
Yeah, that's why I think the line's at this, because all the Patriots are going to be full go. Some props to look at: Diggs 8 more catches, 500,000. Henry 5 more catches, 500,000. So both are definitely significant if you're looking at some prop markets. But I think the Patriots roll here. I mean, they're just way better than Miami. It's at home. Dolphins historically don't play well in the cold. Quinn Ewers maybe can change that aspect, but I really don't see how the Patriots just don't dominate in a game that they need to play for. They need to try and I don't think I just don't see how Quinn Ewers is going to have a lot of success against this tough defense. I think he's going to make a couple mistakes here, and that's going to end up being the difference in this game.
Yeah, I'm going to take New England to win and cover too. I mean, the fact that they do still have something to play for here, like tip of the cap to Quinn Ewers getting that win against Tampa Bay last week. But, what has New England done all year? They just beat teams that are under 500. They love doing that. So, yeah. And their schedule is stacked with it. It's part of the reason they are where they are, with a chance for the number 1 seed. But you play who's in front of you, and they get a rookie quarterback 7th-round pick in front of them this week. So I got to think Mike Vrabel is going to have these boys ready to go. I think he said something along the lines of he hasn't been this excited since after they won the playoff game in a very long time. So I just think the energy they got heading into the postseason, they want to keep that momentum going. So I think they'll come out and go full throttle and try to get an ass beating here just to establish themselves and try to get that bye, because that bye is really, really important. And look, 10.5 is a lot of points, but I don't know. Waddle left the game last week. Is he going to play?
Probably not. Why would they? Yeah, why would they risk it? He's an asset to them.
And what, Christian Gonzalez on the outside? I don't see the passing attack working out well for Miami. If they do cover this, it's got to be Devon Achane, just goes absolutely nuclear, makes people miss, and just has some pretty explosive plays.
Yeah. Fair. All right, let's move on.
All right, Chargers versus the Broncos. Denver 12.5-point favorites in this one. The total's 37.5. Of course, Denver wins, and they get the 1 seed. The Chargers, they don't really give a shit. They're sitting Justin Herbert. So, I don't know. That's why it's 12.5 points. It's pretty crazy, but
yeah.
Do you think the Chargers can cover with a backup quarterback in play ready to rock. Like, I don't know. Are they sitting more
Trey
starters?
Lance, I believe, is the starting quarterback.
Trey Lance.
I think it should be.
Is Khalil
So that's
Mack gonna
definitely
play? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is Keenan Allen going to play? Is it just Herbert?
I don't know. I mean, the way that offensive line has looked with Herbert, I would imagine this Denver defense is going to feast. So I find it hard to believe that the Chargers are going to be able to move the ball. I mean, Trey Lance props are interesting just because of his athletic ability. I mean, I know Keenan Allen has some big incentives, like 6 catches for 75,000, 9 receiving yards for 2 touchdowns. Like Keenan Allen's got some props, so maybe they put him out there. But outside of that, I mean, I think you're benching anyone that's of value. I mean, this offensive line is in shambles, so I just think the Broncos dominate this one, similar to when we saw them dominate the Chiefs in Week 18 last year when the Chiefs sat everybody. Like, I think they just destroy these backups. So I think it's like 30-7, maybe. Like, I think it's just pure domination. They lock up the 1 seed and, rest everybody next week.
Yeah, of course I'm picking them to win, but I'm picking the Chargers to cover, and the only reason being all year Broncos play up and they play down. They play up, they play down. What if Trey Lance just comes out here and just lights the world on fire? We're like, whoa, hold up, Malik Willis. We got this guy Trey Lance that could be a free agent, huh?
Yeah.
Number 3 overall pick. Nah, I think that's unlikely. I just think Denver might just kind of coast to a win here. I still think LA's defense is more than formidable, and it's not like, RJ Harvey's been super explosive at the running back position, just kind of a more pure volume play for fantasy, but he hasn't been running for like over 100 yards or anything. So I do think the Chargers defense can contain Denver enough that they can hang around and cover 12.5.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. But I do get that aspect because they have let a lot of bad teams hang around with them all season. So just staying consistent with how Denver's been.
Yeah. All right. Eagles versus Commanders. Philly 4.5-point favorites at home. The total 38.5. Very, very low. With the Eagles already locking up the division, who knows what is their game plan? Are they going to play their guys? Are they going to play them for a little bit? Like, because 4.5 seems a little tight for
still get the 2
matchup with
seed.
the Commanders when they just beat them. They just beat up on the Commanders 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, they can get the 2 seed still. And the 2 versus the 3 is very different because, like 1 seed gets upsetted, then you have the 1 seed loses in the divisional round, and it's like, oh shit, you now have a home playoff game for the NFC Championship.
Mm-hmm.
So, I do think that the Eagles will win this one and cover this one. I'm not really understanding why the line's like this, so I'm not going to overthink it. I just think the Eagles are going to take care of business here and beat the Commanders. I don't really know why the line's like that.
Yeah, that's what's throwing me off because I'm like, I would pick the Eagles to win no matter what. Spread could get a little subjective there depending on how fat it was, but at 4.5, like they just were down 10-7 at halftime in Washington 2 weeks ago and then just dominated the second half.
Yeah, so, I mean, I would probably, even if it's Tanner McKee for the second half, like I still feel pretty confident. Like I would probably take that line even if it's not Hurts and some of the backups, like in Tanner McKee, like I still like that line. Like the Commanders are a sorry team with a terrible defense.
I still think Tank Bigsby can run all over this defense.
Oh, Travion Diggs just got claimed by the Packers.
The Packers, huh?
Yeah. Yep. So that's interesting.
Wow, Green Bay getting Trayvon Diggs. I kind of like that for them.
Very interesting.
So how many teams? I guess his agent definitely told people, like, there's no reason for a non-playoff team to claim him because he's going to be a free agent after the season anyways. So it had to be a playoff team. And when you look at it, Green Bay at 9-6-1, like they probably had first claim over the most of the other playoff teams. So they got him.
Yeah, because they claimed him. Yep, that's exactly it. It definitely was 100% that.
Interesting. Wow. I like that for Green Bay. I mean, the defense obviously losing Micah Parsons. They feel like they're a team that could win a Super Bowl, so they need a little bit more juice. And now Trayvon Diggs and Micah Parsons, almost reunited, almost.
There you go. That's nuts.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with the Eagles for this one to wrap that up. I think they dominate. And Tank Bigsby can run all over them, too, if they sit Barkley, who has historically destroyed Washington.
Yeah, and I don't really think there's any let me see. I don't think there's any props of note in this one on either side that I saw. Yeah, Philadelphia. Barkley needs 87 scrimmage yards to get 250,000. So I guess that doesn't really help. Debo has a bunch of incentive props, 10 catches, 93 yards, 2 touchdowns. So maybe some Debo props are in play.
Easier said than done if Quinyon Mitchell is going to be on him.
True. But let's move on.
All right, we got a fun one in the 4 o'clock slate. Detroit travels to Chicago. Detroit at 8-8, Chicago 11-5, and the Bears are 3-point favorites. The total 50.5. Of course, the Lions took care of business earlier on in the season in Ben Johnson revenge game, but now he gets his chance for payback with the Lions eliminated from the playoffs. And I like how this total is very, very high because I think it's almost going to be a little bit of gamesmanship in terms of Campbell versus Johnson. So with that being said, you've been pretty high on Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, these Bears. Are you taking them? And how much do they really have to play for? Just seeding 2, 3?
I think they're going to take care of business here. This is a tune-up game for the Bears. They're going to take care of business here, get their get back. Ben Johnson's going to have the perfect plan. Dan Campbell and those boys are going to be fired up, but I don't care. The Bears are getting it done at home. If you can't beat the Lions in an important game now, you're going to lose into the playoffs anyway. So this is just a tune-up game. Get them ready. Lock up that 2 seed. Have home playoffs at least guaranteed till you get to the NFC Championship. And maybe it works out that, hey, the 1 seed does get upset at whoever it is, and then you have the home NFC Championship game. So this is a massive game for the Bears, and I do think they get it done ultimately. I don't think this is as close as people think. The Detroit team has been sorry of recent. So, no, I'm not going to treat them like they're the same Detroit and the same Chicago team from early on in the season. So give me the Bears to cover here and win and just dominate. I think they win this one by double digits, no problems.
Yeah, you're crazy, bro. Lions are going to win this game outright. I just have a gut feeling that Dan Campbell wants to play spoiler as badly as
have faith in an 8-win team, why don't you?
They're gonna come out here with all the vengeance in the world. Just, hey, I know we got nothing after this. Let's play our hearts out. Let's go show them that we're still the guys. Isn't it right? Come on.
Sure,
Ben
man.
Johnson ain't going to come in and beat us, So, fuck it, dude. I'm going to ride with the Lions. Jahmyr Gibbs going to cook these guys. Going to go for, how about this call? Jahmyr Gibbs over 150 total yards and 2 touchdowns to silence the Bears and send them in the playoffs off another tough loss. Just getting in their dome.
Quite the call there, mister. That is quite the call.
Just getting in their domes, man. Just making Ben Johnson think about it,
That's quite the call.
All right, let's move on here. Arizona versus the Rams. LA 7-point favorites in this one, and our total is, if I could find it, 46.5. So pretty high here. And, obviously Arizona has lost 13 of the last 14 games, so they're not playing for shit. Gannon said today he actually feels confident in his job status. So, what else is the guy going to say? The Rams, kind of a good get-right spot right before the playoffs here. But
yeah, they might need not. Well, I'm taking the Cardinals to cover and the Rams to win because there's a chance, we're obviously recording this on a Wednesday, but this game may not matter at all for the Rams. If the 49ers win, the Rams are locked in at the 6.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and all the Rams can do at most is get to 5. And I know it is a big difference between 5 and 6 with how hard and deep the NFC is. There's a chance that it could be a 5 versus 6 or a 5 versus 7 in the NFC Championship game. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities, but that's a high line for a team that may not need to play anything or maybe benching starters in the second half and using this as more of a tune-up game where they're only going to play their guys for limited times. So that's why I took the Cardinals to cover. I think, they got the garbage time Merchant and Jacoby Brissett. Those guys are still going to be playing where the Rams, you really could bench guys at any point. So, yeah, that's kind of why I took the Cardinals to cover here, but the Rams to win because the Rams are the better team, even with back with some backups. I know Jimmy Garoppolo also has some major incentive props just with his snap percentages and stuff that he'll play. So I think that'll definitely factor in as well. But I think there's a chance they start Garoppolo anyway.
It's a really good point. But if I'm picking Seattle to win, that means this game matters for the Rams 5 versus 6. Because then it's okay, would you rather, let's just play hypotheticals here. Would you rather go to Philadelphia? Would you rather go to Carolina? Right? That it does kind of matter.
Oh, and listen, dude, there's still the world too. Even if it does work that they're locked into the 6 and the Niners do win, a Jimmy Garoppolo-led offense with, no Puka, Kyron, or Devontae Adams, but you still got Blake Corum and some of those young rookie wide receivers there. I still think can cover 7 at home against the Cardinals.
They still can.
That's
yeah.
the thing.
I'm going to go with the Rams to win and cover.
Actually, that line is probably reflecting it when you think about it. Like, if all the Rams guys are playing, that's a double-digit line. Like, the Cardinals are a 3-win team. So I think that's already playing into that.
It's a valid point. I'm going to go with the Rams to win and cover. It's just it's hard to like kind of back Arizona losing 13 out of 14, and I do think there is a sense where the Rams, like, although you want to sit Stafford and have them like ready to rock for the postseason and be good for them, like there is a sense where get right game after that loss to Atlanta would be good for them heading to the postseason.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
All right, this game does not matter besides for teams hunting for the number 1 pick, but we got the Chiefs and the Raiders. The Raiders are 5.5-point dogs at home. Total 36.5. 5.5 points. Feels like a lot to me. But then again, it's like they just get blown out by the Giants after the Chiefs. Like the last 2 weeks have looked like absolute donkey dick. So both teams are just really, really bad. But 5.5 points is still a lot, I think. I'm going with the Raiders. Yeah. You know why? Because give the Giants the number 1 pick. Come on, that's what I'm rooting for. What analysis do you need here, bro? It's Geno Smith versus Chris Oluokun. Like, dude, like what the fuck, man? Like, this is a total shit show of a game. Just give me the vibes here. This is a pick with my heart, not my head.
Yeah, I'm also taking the Raiders as well. This is not a pick with my heart type thing. It's just like they're at home. Like, I think the Raiders can like hang around in this one. Like, Oluokun didn't really show anything. They didn't really open up the playbook at all in this matchup. Like, they kind of were very bubble wrapped. So I don't know if he can just go and dice up the defense. Like, I think this is going to be low scoring, and it's like, all right, well, I'll take the home team in this ugly battle. Just some incentive props to watch. Hollywood Brown, a touchdown will be $250,000. Kareem Hunt, 31 scrimmage yards is $125,000. I think that's very much in play for Hunt. And I don't know if the Raiders had any. Yeah, the Raiders have none that I'm seeing that are major. But yeah, I'm going to take the Raiders here. I mean, not a whole lot to talk. I don't think we need to waste a lot of time here. I'm ready to move on.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the last game and the game that like really, really does matter. Sunday Night Football, an AFC North battle. I mean, come on. This is why we play. This is why we got 18 weeks of the regular season for games like this. The Baltimore Ravens travel to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers. Baltimore's 3.5-point favorites. The total is 40.5, so very low here. Obviously, the winner wins the division, and they enter the AFC brackets as the 4 seed. Now, Lamar did not play, obviously, last week. Still up in the air as of this point in time whether he's going to play, but you got to expect Lamar Jackson will be in there for this one, Reagan.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that he won't be in there in a must-win, get-in game. I don't care if he is or isn't. I'm taking the Steelers no matter what at home. I would have taken the Ravens if they were at home, but I think home field advantage is very important in this battle of mid. I understand, you could see with Derrick Henry and say what he did last week and expect it to be another big game, and it should. But this Steelers defense is very good. They're very familiar with this. It's not like Green Bay, who doesn't face that kind of back very often, where Pittsburgh's already seen this guy, I think, 4 or 5, like, they've seen him. They saw him 3 times last year because they got bounced by him in the playoffs, and they've already seen him once this year. So it's a little bit different in divisional matchups. They'll have a better game plan. And I trust Rodgers more. I trust Rodgers, man. I do. I think he's going to get it done. I think he's going to make some big-time throws with a veteran. Even though they don't have DK, I just expect that they're going to come in with a better game plan offensively, whether that's featuring more of the tight ends, where you got 3 dynamic tight ends in all different ways with Washington, Freiermuth, and Smith, or if that means, finding out ways to get Warren and Gainwell both on the field more. Like, I think they're going to go into this week and have a way better game plan offensively, and have a better output at home. So give me the Steelers here to win in a must-win, get-in game.
That's where you're wrong, my friend. I'm going with Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Look, before the season, I had the Ravens winning the Super Bowl. I can't pick them to lose. The winner
so
go
it's an
home.
Emotional pick. Got it.
18. But it's also a fact that it is the end. When this game's played, it'll be January. When does Derrick Henry play his best football, man? Right now.
December.
I'm right in the hot hand with
Not
Derrick
January.
Henry. Even if Lamar is in and he's compromised, you could still hand the ball off to Derrick Henry 30 times, and I like their offensive game plan. Where they have faltered late in the season is when Monken kind of tries to get cute and takes the ball out of Derrick Henry's hands, and that is clearly not the recipe for this team to win these type of games. I just have to go back to, because this is a playoff game, Reagan. This is a playoff game. What the hell has Mike Tomlin done in the playoffs the last 10 years with this Steelers team? They're always a one and done. To me, it just got moved up one more week this year. They're one and done. This is their one. They're out, man. I trust Harbaugh. I trust Lamar. I trust Derrick Henry. Give me the Baltimore Ravens to win and cover the 3.5 on the road. How about them apples?
How about them apples? How about them apples? I would say, sorry we didn't talk about fantasy. I hope if you're any, in any big league, you're not in leagues still, or like that you ended at week 17. Don't be a psychopath with your week 18 playoff pictures, because this shows you why you don't do it. With all these teams benching players and so much uncertainty, you need to basically hope that you got players on teams that are winning get in. I don't really have much more. I'm just excited for some good Saturday football and some ugly and good games on Sunday.
Hell yeah, man. When this
One more
is out,
week of a full slate.
Yeah, it'll be fun, man. We got some good primetime games. College football playoffs, too, will be really fun on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So by the time you're listening to this, it'll probably be 2026. You have been with Around the Felt from 2023. We appreciate you being with us heading into 2026. Happy New Year, Felters. Enjoy this weekend of football, and we'll catch you next week to break down everything we take.